Hi, I'm Maxine and welcome to the Sew Bunny YouTube channel. Today I'm going to explain to you how to print PDF sewing patterns at home. So historically, sewing patterns would come in an envelope like this, and you go to your sort of fabric shop or haberdashery and buy your pattern in an envelope. And inside the envelope it will have your instructions and your pattern pieces, which are printed on sort of big huge sheets of paper, and they're all tightly folded inside this envelope. The difference with a PDF pattern is it's a digital file that is sent to you. So as soon as you purchase your pattern online, your files are sent to you immediately, and then you can print them out yourself at home. So the advantage of this is you don't have to physically go to a shop or wait for a physical pattern to be delivered. But with it being a digital file, it's then up to you to print it. So when you buy your PDF pattern, you'll be able to download a few different files that will all come together in your package. You'll have the instructions as a PDF, and it's up to you whether you print those out or you can just view them on your laptop or iPad or whatever. I tend to just view them on the screen, but some people prefer to have them printed out beside them, so that's just personal preference. And then you'll get your actual pattern files to be printed out. Now typically these will come in a few different options. One of these options is the A0 or copy shop file. So that's where the pattern is designed to be printed on giant pieces of paper like what you would get in here. And then you can send that to a print shop or a copy shop and they will print that out for you. So there's some great online services you can do this with, or you can go to your local copy shop and get them to print it out in A0 paper size. And then the other one that you'll get for printing at home is the A4, or sometimes it's US letter size file type. And the idea with this is you print it all out on individual A4 pages and tape them all together to form your overall pattern pieces. Now that's the one we're going to talk about today, because that's the one that you can get started with and print out yourself at home straight away. So I'm going to talk you through how to do this using one of my patterns, which is the robin top. That's the top that I'm wearing today. And I'll show you what files you get with it and how to print the A4 pattern and stick it all together. And as I'm going, I'll give you some useful sort of hints and tips and things to make the process a bit easier for you. So let's go to the laptop. Okay, so these are the pattern files that you get when you download the robin top. So let me just show you the A4 pattern file. That's the one we're going to open right now. So I'm going to double click that. And today I'm using Adobe Acrobat to open the PDF. You can use any PDF viewer that you like. I'm just using this one because it has a clever layers function in it, which I'm going to show you right now. So over here, where these little squares are, if you open this menu, you'll see it's got all the sizes listed out, and then one at the bottom called Print Template. And then next to these there are these little sort of eye symbols, and these basically allow you to turn each layer on or off. The print template one you always keep on because that's got all the information that you need about your pattern pieces. So we keep that one on. On other patterns it might be called do not unlock or locked or something to that effect. So the benefit of this is, as you can see, let's go over to here, so you can see we've got all the different sizes shown on the page, but as we click these little eyes, each size disappears, which is great because then when you're coming to cut it out, you're not trying to like see between each line, and sort of some bits on certain patterns where all the lines sort of converge, it can be quite hard to pick out your size. So by doing it this way, you can turn off all the other sizes and you can print only the size that you want to sew. So I'm a size 12 in this pattern, so I'm going to turn off all the sizes except 12. I'm going to hide my little layers menu. So then something else I want to show you is this test box here, which says 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters. It's there so that we can check the scaling to make sure that the pattern is printed out to the correct scale, because if these pages get sort of shrunk or expanded while they're being printed, the pattern won't fit sort of as intended. So it's really important that we print it out to the correct scale. So to do that, we're going to go File, Print. Everyone's settings will look slightly different whether you're printing on a Mac or a PC or whatever you're using, but there will be some variation on these settings that we need to look out for. So the first thing we need to look for is the sizing. So over here I've clicked Custom Scale and it's 100%, and that's what we want it to be on, because that way the pages are printed to the size that they were drafted.
So to check the accuracy of this, we're going to have our 100% and we're going to print only that first test page. So we'll print just page 1 and 100%. You can also use this actual size function, which I think does the same thing, but I've never tried it. I've never been brave enough, so I tend to just press 100%, and then that way I know it's to the correct scale. So just press print and print that first page off. Once we've printed that page, we can then measure that box to check if it is the measurements as stated, so in this case 5 centimetres by 5 centimetres, and if that's correct, then we can go ahead and print the rest of the pages to scale. So I'm going to do that now and I'll check back in with you. Just grab your ruler and check those measurements. So there we go, bang on, 5 centimetres by 5 centimetres. So we know that these scaling settings are correct, and now we can go ahead and print the rest of the pattern. I'm going to go back up to File and Print and keep all the scaling settings the same, except this time we're just going to not print page 1, we're going to start from page 2 and print the rest of the files. And now it's a case of sticking all the templates together, all the tiles together to give us our overall pattern pieces. Now you can see here that the pages are numbered. Every pattern company does this slightly differently. I use a system of letters and numbers. The letter represents the row and the number represents the column. So we've got page A1, and then next we have A2, which goes beside that, and then A3 and so on. So all the A's are the top row, and then once we get to the end of the A's, the B's form the row below. And that's the sort of basic principle of how we tape these things together. So now I'm just going to show you how I do that. In order to stick your pattern together, you're going to need some sticky tape. I prefer to have it on one of these little dispenser things just because it makes life a lot easier. And you'll also need your paper scissors. So what I like to do is the first page, just leave it as is, and then for the second page in the top row, I trim off the left hand margin, so just trim along the line at the edge of this box, and now you will be able to line up these two pages. Now these triangles that are shown in the middle and at the top of each page are there as guides for you to line them up, and then when you pop them together you'll see it forms a square there. Now when it comes to sticking on your tape, I like to try and put piece in the middle, one at the top, and one at the bottom, one at the bottom, one at the top. And this sort of keeps it all nice and sturdy. Another thing you can do is look at the page and look at where the actual pattern piece is starting to form. And it's a good idea to make sure you've definitely got a piece of tape on the actual pattern piece, because when we go to cut this out, we want to make sure that there's a join here. The more you do this, the more you'll get a feel for what the patterns look like and where the sort of best places to tape are. But for now, as long as you've got at least a few pieces of tape keeping it all together, that'll be just fine. So we do the same with the next page, trim off the left hand side and then tape it together. Now, sometimes you'll see a page like this which only has one sort of individual pattern piece on it. It's up to you whether you stick this on to the overall page or you can keep it separate. I generally tend to stick it on, which seems a bit pointless, but the reason I like to do that is because there could be subsequent pages in other rows, and it just helps to keep everything nice and square and level. So for this one, I am just going to trim this off and stick it on. To start row 2, we're going to trim off this top margin so we can line up the squares at the bottom. So you can see like that, we've got this sort of edge of one square here and then this one lined up here, and again we've got the margins lined up. So I'm going to stick some tape there and some tape there. And now for the other pages in the row, we're going to trim off the top
and the side, and then that way we can line up and have something to tape onto here. That's the basic process, and I'm just going to keep going along and tape the whole pattern together. Ta-da! What I'm going to do now is I'm going to roughly cut out each pattern piece, but then I'm going to take them back to my table and cut them out more accurately, just to save my paper back. So now that we've got this cut out roughly, we can go around and more accurately cut out each pattern piece. Now you'll notice, like, once you kind of cut it out, it's quite flimsy in places, so you'll start to see where you might need some extra tape just to reinforce everything together. So as you're going along, if any pieces start flapping about, just stick some extra tape down, and that'll keep it all together. As you can see here, my scissors have just went under like one piece and not the one underneath. So just take your time when you're cutting out and make sure you're getting both layers of paper at the margins. And then what I was meaning was, sort of, you can see this piece here is sort of flapping about, so just to stop that from happening, or to stop any bits getting ripped or bent, just stick an extra little piece of tape there. So now we have our sleeve piece cut out. Now if you want, you can just go ahead and pin it onto your pattern and get cutting out straight away. Something I like to do, because I like to keep my pattern pieces for future use, to make them a little bit more sturdy, is to flip them over. You can see here, like, it'll bend quite easily and potentially sort of start to move about when you try and fold the piece up to sort of put it in an envelope or something. So I like to take some tape and tape down all the little corners on the back, and that just reinforces everything and makes it a bit sturdier, so that you can keep your pattern pieces and use them again and again. Because if you're anything like me, when you find a pattern you love, you want to make it in every colour imaginable. So yeah, you can tape down the corner pieces. You could also tape down the edges here, because again, that has the potential to get caught or ripped. So this might be a little bit extra, but I like to just keep everything in good nick so that I can reuse it. So now when we go to like move this piece about and use it, it's much more sturdy. And that's it. So you just do the exact same with your remaining pattern pieces and you're good to go. So that's all there is to it. I hope you've enjoyed this video, learning how to print your own PDF patterns at home. If you have, give it a thumbs up and let me know what you think in the comments. And if anyone's got any more tips or advice on printing patterns at home, I'd love to hear it, because I always love learning new tips to make sewing that little bit easier. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.